Okay, so the new patch just dropped, and one of the features is that wind is now affecting ballistics of the weapons you shoot. So let's test it. Okay, let's start with the assault rifle caliber, and I'm going to take AK-74N and normal steel core ammo. And I want to take a scope. Okay, I got two sets of targets. The first set of targets is 300 meters away. The second set is 500 meters away. Okay, first I'm going to arrange it to 300. And I will aim for the character's center line. And the wind is currently set to come from the northwest direction, which is exactly perpendicular to the direction I'm shooting. Because my character is approximately here, and I'm shooting that direction, which is shooting from this over here, which means I'm shooting in the northeast direction. The wind is coming from the northwest. So that's the most... That's the wind direction that will get the most in your way, which is 90 degrees perpendicular to where you're shooting. Yes, so to shoot center mass, or center line. And this target. And I'm going to shoot at the 500 meter targets. You can see already in the videos here, as the bullet's rising, when it reaches the top, then it appears it's almost still center line. And you can see on the way down, the curvature is, trajectory is directed in that direction. Okay, let's take a close look. Okay, let's see. I was aiming approximately slightly off. When I clicked, it was probably slightly up here. You can see at 300 meters. Also, what I didn't mention is the wind is set to the maximum that's possible in the editor, which is 15 meters per second. So you can see at 300 meters, if you aim center mass, you're still going to hit the target with a 5.56 or 5.45 caliber. See it here. It's probably here. I was aiming here and ended up here. And the same here. Can also get 500 meters. You see, at 500 meters, now it matters if you have strong winds. See, I was aiming approximately center, and it's way off target. It's almost one complete target width off to the right. And the same here. And if you look at the trajectory, you can tell that okay, those impacts, they impacted and then they tumbled. But as you can see here, if you look at the trajectory, maybe it's find a better angle to see it. Let me try to get an angle on those ones. See, on the way up, as you could see on the scope vision, the bullets appear to, at least when it's still rising on the peak of the curve, they appear to be on target. And on the way down, as they start to lose energy, I think wind affects them more and pushes them away. Okay, now I'm going to switch to a 7.62 larger caliber. Take an SVD and normal sniper ammo. I'm going to aim slightly away or shoot from a slightly shifted position so you can see the curves better. Okay, first I'm going to shoot 300 meters. I'm going to aim for the head. And okay, now I'm aiming 500 meters. See, that thing was way off. See, again, the curve, it goes almost exactly on target, and then see it bending. Go. Okay, let's look at the results. I was aiming a bit higher so I can distinguish the 7.62 from the 5.45. Okay, so see here, aiming center. I was probably aiming up here, that area. I was aiming, I don't remember. See here, it's still drifting, but the drift is almost the same, but it's a bit lower. I would say it's about 60% as much as this one in terms of wind drift. But they also got inaccuracies of the MOA, and this shot went slightly off, but it could be because the moment I clicked was probably not exactly on target. But in both situations, you're still hitting the target. Okay, and this, unless you're aiming for the head. If you aim center mass, you probably would have hit the target, 300 meters. And at 500 meters, both shots are almost the same amount off target. Okay, now I'm going to use a larger caliber weapon. I'm going to use the NSV because it has a scope. It's already zoomed in. And there's actually no range setting you can change. So I'm just going to aim dead center mass on both shots. You can tell it hits. Less affected, as you would expect, because of the mass of the bullet. And the second shot, center line. See, no surprise, it's almost directly on the center line. So at 300 meters, heavy caliber machine guns, you don't have to worry about the wind. I can tell now it's... the wind starts to matter at 500 meters. But you're still hitting the target. Now here's a ranging error because I don't know what exactly the thing is sighted in. Let's take a close look. Okay, I'm not sure which one of those is. I think this is the one from the 50 caliber. Well, it's almost directly center mass. So as you would expect, higher muzzle energy, it's less affected by wind for a longer distance. And here's dead center on the center line. And let's take a look at this one. Again, center line almost not affected. It's just a ranging error. So the lesson here is at 500 meters, 50 caliber is going to hit center mass with some drift. And the last test I want to do is whether it affects launchers. Again, I'm going to clear out the trajectories. And I'm going to use the Soviet RPG 22 because I think the ballistics are probably similar to the other ones. So I'm not going to test each one. Now, the ranging on this one is only 250 meters. So see if I can hit even at... Because at 500 meters I don't have to shoot it because it's impractical to be used. A bit higher. Now from here I could probably see that it's going to miss. See, I was aiming that direction. I can see it's way off. So what we can learn is that the muzzle velocity, or the velocity of the projectile, is heavily a factor in how much the wind pushes it away. As you can see here, the wind pushes it way off in that direction. Actually, let's try with the RPG-7 too. Okay, let's take an RPG-7 with the standard warhead. Set it to 300 meters. Okay, this one was pushed way off wind. Not sure if that's a bug. Because I think the rocket is the rocket engine on the RPG-7. Isn't it like has a better range and a stronger rocket motor? Could this be a bug that it's getting that much pushed away compared to the 72 millimeter or 72 the Russian thing? Because that seems like excessive compared to the other launcher. So now the question is, does it matter in game if the wind pushed the bullets away? Now, I think it really doesn't really matter in the way the game is played. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's good that they added the realistic muted simulation of it and not exaggerated so it has more gameplay impact. Because at 500 meters, where you start seeing bullet drift at 5.5 or 5.56 calibers, at that distance, if you don't have a scope, you probably won't even shoot because you probably can't even see the target. Because it's smaller than a pixel, I would guess. Now, for sniper rifles, it's different. You will even start shooting at 500 meters because you have a scope. And at that, you will probably see the bullet drift and you might miss a shot. But here's the thing. For the wind to affect you the maximum amount possible, it has to be perpendicular to your shooting direction. And it has to be 15 meters per second, which is the absolute maximum you can set in the editor. And if you look at all the cardinal directions, you got 4 cardinal directions, and the other ones you can set the northwest and if you would throw random dice or randomly pick a direction, then only 2 out of is it 8? Yeah, 2 out of 8 directions would actually be perpendicular, and then the wind has to be strong enough for it to matter. And if I would set the wind down to 1 or 2 meters per second, then you have such a small amount of drift that you still hit the target. So I think it's a nice feature that they added it. But I don't think it will matter, because the only thing will happen is that the snipers might miss a headshot sometimes. And then they just see the smoke puff and readjust the shot.